Prop firms are one of the biggest opportunities of 2026. For just a couple $100 investment, you could get access to capital that allows you to make 5 to 6 figures every single month. However, while this opportunity is lucrative, it can just as quickly and easily turn into an endless cycle of losing money. And I myself experienced this as a beginner trader. I blew through hundreds of prop firm challenges, over $60,000, all to find out the exact info I'm going to be giving you in this video. And it wasn't until I learned what I'm about to share with you that I finally stopped blowing accounts, finally stopped losing money, and finally started to make 5 to 6 figures every single month. And the very first thing we have to understand is that these prop firms are not your friend. TopStep recently released all of their trader stats from funded, payout, to even getting an eval, and this is what they found. Out of all of the traders that start a challenge, only 12.4% actually make it to the funded stage. So close to a tenth of traders are already gone from this initial 100%. And out of all of those traders who get funded, only 3.5% make it to a payout. So basically less than half of the traders who get funded. Now, out of those traders who get to their first payout, only 0.1% actually make it to the live funded stage, actually make it to where they are getting consistent payouts on a regular basis. So first and foremost, we have to understand that these prop firms are not your friend. They make money when you lose money. Their goal is to make you lose as much money as possible. So with the odds so against you, with the probability so not in your favor, if you are not approaching prop firms with a airtight dialed in system, you are simply setting yourself up for failure. And that's exactly what ended up happening to me the first couple years of trading prop firms. Fail, 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 fail. Blown accounts after blown accounts. Like I said, I wasted over $60,000 on blown prop firm challenges and failed hundreds of them. This is literally just a small drop in the water of the entire ocean of my failed prop accounts. And the reason was because I didn't have a proper system or a proper approach. So how did I go from all of these blown accounts over here to making over 6 figures a month every single month? Well, I simply stopped doing what I was doing over here as a part of the 99.9%, and I started implementing the habits that I'm going to be showing you in this video, which takes you to the 0.01% of traders. And this is where everybody wants to be, so they can live life on their own terms, not have to work a job, and send him bands to your moms. And these type of results only came to me when I started approaching my prop firm trading like a business. And most traders get this wrong because they're over-focused on having one big account, one payout, and having the biggest possible P&L. In other words, they're optimizing for more profit per account. But this is backwards because the real goal is consistency. The real goal is a rinse and repeat system that gets you from pass to payout as quickly and efficiently as possible. And one that is so simple that it can be duplicated over and over again. And it's only by developing this system that you can actually get results that last. And instead of trying to hit a home run and get a huge payout, you should simply be focused on this ratio right here, keeping your payouts higher than your challenge fees. In other words, keeping your expenses lower than your actual profits. So this is systems and processes, guys. The same things they use in every high-level corporate business and every high-level hedge fund, you're going to implement within the way you approach these as well. Now, this is usually the part of the video where some nerd is going to come here and run a bunch of numbers that don't actually exist in reality and kind of tries to attempt to tell you what your success rate is going to be. But obviously, we know that this has nothing to do with making money on the charts. But as long as you're tracking your pass rate as well as your payout rate throughout this process and are continuously focused on improving these two metrics rather than your P&L, rather than your profit target, that is what you want to be focused on. So it's less about defining an exact number and more about a shift of focus from what you were focusing on before to now focusing on pass rate and payout rate. So by now we understand you are not trying to be the quote unquote best trader on social media. You aren't trying to hit the biggest P&L day so you can be on the leaderboard. None of that has anything to do with your ability to feed your family or be able to produce consistent results. So stop trying to be the most profitable trader and start trying to be the most consistent trader, because this actually scales faster. The thing is, you already win enough trades, and chances are if if you took a look at your trade journal, your winners are not the problem. The reason you don't make money is because all of these small, stupid mistakes you make from focusing on trying to be too profitable or trying to win too big and trying to make too much money from a small account balance. The thing you have to understand is that making more money in trading does not come from being more profitable or taking bigger trades. Being more profitable actually comes from having more capital to trade with. Instead of scaling your position size, you're scaling your capital, therefore scaling your cumulative position size. And an average trader with 100K in capital will a lot of times make more money than the best trader with 10K capital. Next, we need to cover these two topics, which is account selection and strategy selection. We'll dive into a little bit of my strategy. We're not going to go into the full thing because I have videos on that, but I will give you a quick example so you can see this in action. Now, the first thing when it comes to account selection is drawdown versus profit target ratio. And you would be surprised how many people jump straight into an account without even calculating this basic formula. And all you simply have to do is compare the maximum drawdown of your account to the actual profit target. And as you can see here on this 25K account on TPT, the profit target and the drawdown are the same amount. So this is a 1-to-1 ratio. It is good. The amount they give you to risk matches the amount they give you to target. But what happens if we simply just come over here to the 50K account? Well, you'll notice something very interesting. The profit target is now $1,000 more than the allowed drawdown they give you, meaning that you have to make $1,000 more than they give you in risk to hit the profit target just to get an additional $500. So essentially, you're paying an extra $1,000 to get an extra $500, whereas here you have only $500 less drawdown, but your profit target is 50% of what it is on the 50K challenge. So just by jumping from the 25K challenge to the 50K challenge, the profit target doubles and the end of day trailing drawdown only goes up by $500. But you'd be surprised how many people just jump straight to the 50K because they think the 25K is too small, when really, if you got two of these accounts, it would be a much better deal. You get to the profit target faster, you build your buffer faster, and the odds will be way more in your favor, actually 50% more in your favor, just by stepping down to the 25K account. And you can see here on pretty much every other account, the drawdown is less than the actual profit target. On the 100K, it's even half of what the profit target is supposed to be. So you have to literally double your money, and then you have to double it again to build the buffer to even be qualified for a payout. And so far, the TPT 25K is the only account I've ever seen that offers the same amount of drawdown as profit target. Even on Lucid, the max loss limit is $250 less than the profit target. Not terrible, because you can see on the 50K, the numbers are much worse. So it's still better to go with the 25K when it comes to drawdown to profit target ratio. Now, the next thing you have to consider is the all-in cost, or the fee plus activation if there is activation. Obviously, there's coupon codes, there's deals that a lot of these prop firms run, but you always want to be reading the fine print to make sure you know your all-in cost. As of now, I know that if you do the top step plan that doesn't come with no activation fee, you will pay about $100 to $120 activation fee. And Take Profit Trader, when they're not running the promo they're currently running, you also have to pay $120 activation fee. Apex as well, I know, charges an activation fee. My Funded Futures, Lucid, and Take Profit Trader right now, while they're running the deal, do not charge an activation fee. So make sure you're aware before going in of your all-in cost. Read the terms of service. Make sure you know what you're actually going to spend. And as long as you make more than this number on your first payout, you are good. You have covered the cost of the account. You are at a positive ROI. Now, the last thing you have to consider is payout policy and rules. A lot of firms like Top Step, My Funded Futures, Alpha Futures, Lucid, they all make you do at least 5 days of a minimum of, $150, $250. You have to check your exact account. But once you hit those 5 days, if the consistency rules are adhered to, you pass the challenge. A lot of other firms make you build a buffer. So they'll make you take the same amount as your max drawdown. So let's just say it's $1,000 max drawdown. They'll make you make $1,000 profit to go ahead and pad the account. And then everything after that, you can request for payout. So that's how Take Profit Trader works as well. There's no consistency rule with them, but they do make you build this buffer when you get funded before you can actually get to the payout. So make sure before you invest into a prop firm challenge, you are going over all these three things and that you understand fully what you're getting yourself into. And this will prevent any mistakes or rule breaches along the way, and it will also make sure you're getting the most efficient setup, you're getting the best ratio of drawdown to profit, you're getting the best all-in fee so you can keep those expenses low, and you're getting the challenges that match your trading style, that match what you want in terms of payout policy, so you're not getting stressed and overwhelmed making mistakes because you're not able to adhere to the payout policy terms. So once you've got all of that covered, that is step one. Step two is now you need an actual trading strategy, an actual technical approach to give yourself a statistical edge, right? We already put ourselves at a greater statistical advantage simply by being selective with what account we select. Now we're going to go ahead and give ourselves a statistical advantage in terms of the actual trading strategy we'll be using. Now, obviously there's a lot that goes into a trading strategy, but the main thing you want to consider is your risk to reward ratio, your win rate, and your setup showing up at least 2 to 3 times per week, right? We're not swing trading. Prop firms aren't even really designed for swing trading. So any model you're trading with prop firms, you want to make sure it's showing up often. You want to make sure it's playing out quick enough for you to actually make your money within that month timeline. And real quick, this is a cheat sheet. You've probably seen me go over this, but this is simply the win rate and risk to reward ratio chart. So in essence, all you're trying to do is refine your strategy down to where it meets the minimum requirements for win rate and risk to reward in order to enter that profit zone. And with the strategy I'm going to be teaching you, the risk to reward is insanely high and the win rate is also insanely high. The average risk to reward is around a 7R. So you don't actually need to win many trades at all to be extremely profitable and to pass your challenges, get payouts extremely fast. And a lot of traders make the mistake of having too low of a risk to reward ratio, and that's why they're always taking 1 step forward, 1 step back, 1 step forward, 2 steps back, 1 step forward, 1 step back, and they stay stuck in the same place. Whereas with a higher risk to reward, every time you take a step back, it's a super small step. So you can avoid all these super small steps back. And then when you do take a win, it puts you all the way forward. And if you execute the way that I'm going to teach you how to execute this strategy, you won't have very many of those steps back along the way to getting more steps forward. So if there's any metric out of all of this that is probably the most crucial to trading prop, it is simply risk to reward ratio. So let me go ahead and show you the strategy. But before I do that, I wanted to show you these Lucid accounts that I passed. And this is also the same exact strategy that I've been using to trade these accounts. You can see I'm 1 day away from payout and it's gone pretty well so far. This is also the same strategy I used to pass all these counts and get them to the funded stage in less than 3 days. Now the strategy is stupid simple. I have other videos where I go in way more depth in this strategy. So if you want to check that out after this, you can go up here. But I'm going to cover one of the setups I took on my way to securing those fundeds. So this model happens at 9:30 a.m. every single day, which is the NYSE Open. So what I simply look for is a displacement leg either in the bullish or bearish direction going into that 9:30 time. So if we fast forward here, you can see 1, 2, 3 more candles, and going into 9:30 open, we had a bullish displacement leg. So we changed the state of delivery down here. We inverted this fair value gap. We respected the order block that we had put in right here. And then we've even put in another bullish order block right here. So we have a bullish run from down at this low all the way up to this high up here. We left behind 2 bullish order blocks. And if I take my OTE, my optimal trade entry, you can see that both of those order blocks are in a discount. So this one is under the 50% point of this last bullish swing. And this one is right around the golden zone. And these 2 zones are going to be where I plan to take my entries. So I'm going to place one long entry here, 10-point stop, and target a fixed for risk to reward. And then I'm also going to put a backup order down here at this order block mean threshold to see if this gets filled as well. So a lot of times when there's 2 order blocks I'll go ahead and give both of them a chance, one with full risk, one with half risk, or vice versa. So in this case, we'll go ahead and place our limit order here. So we'll place a buy limit here. We'll place the sell stop right there at a 10-point stop. And then we'll put a buy limit right here. We'll make this one 3 contracts. And then we'll go ahead and put the 3 contract stop down there. So now we have 2 orders on the chart. Let's go ahead and see how this plays out. To do so, we're going to drop down to the 1 minute time frame. All right, so we're zoomed into the 1 minute. Let's see market open here. You can see market tags our order perfectly right there and delivers nicely for about a 1 to 9. And I think it even goes further than that, but we'll just close that position right there. And you can see beautiful dub right off that second 1 minute candle, but still the first 15-minute candle. Now, obviously, if you were trading prop, you would not need a 1 to 9 to pass. If you're risking any decent amount, like if you're risking $500, you would simply need a 1 to 3 to pass most challenges on a 25K account. If you're trading a 50K account, the profit target's 3,000. So risking 500, you would have made half your profit target. Depending on what the pass policy is, you'll either have to do 1 day, minimum of 2 days. Some prop firms make you do a minimum of 5 days with a 50% consistency rule. So the ideal way to do it would be to take your profit target, divide it in half, divide that into thirds, and that's what you're risking. Aim for a 1 to 3, and in 2 days, you'll be at your profit target. And you can see that was barely a portion of this move. With this strategy, you already got a 3R. And all I would do this day is simply cancel this one down here because it didn't get reached into. But that is the strategy in a nutshell. Stupid simple, 3 steps, only includes 1 time frame. And if you want to learn this exact strategy, it's up in the corner right here. This is literally the exact strategy that took me from losing all of my accounts here to the results you saw over here. And this is the same exact strategy that I teach all of my students, like Kevo, who managed to go from blowing back-to-back evals to now 2 months later working with me. He's made over $100,000 in prop firm payouts, and he actually just took his family on their first ever vacation at the age of 18. And it sounds crazy to say, but it's really not, because we also had Maya go from 0 to making over 20K in her first month. And we also have JT, who started with me 3 months ago and has now taken over $80,000 cash out of the market. So the possibilities are really endless once you start mastering this skill set and once you're able to treat trading prop firm like a business. So I really hope you got value out of this video. If you learned something, make sure to drop a comment down below and subscribe to the channel for future content. And if you want to work with me one-on-one directly and get some of the results that I was showing you, like Kevo, like Maya, like JT, and tons of my other students making 5 to 6 figures a month, go ahead and click the link in the description and you could apply to work with me. Other than that, take care, be blessed, and I will see you in the next one.